Hey all, we're here with another Little Things video, and strangely enough, we're going to be doing one on Darkfall. Darkfall is a pay-to-play MMO RPG set in a very dark world setting, and it has a couple of unique features that I thought would be unfair not to include in my series of Little Things videos. However, it is a small game developed by a small company, and it has quite a few quirks and difficulties, but it does have some interesting features that remind me of single-player games. And this is again a PvP game. Think of it as a RPG Counter-Strike, if you will. That's probably a pretty good description of the game at this build point. The game has been out for a while, roughly a year and some change. Coming up on 2 if I'm not mistaken. And this is a game that has a couple of interesting features. Number one, I'm going to go over the combat system. The animations are not fantastic, but one of the neat things is you actually have to draw your sword, whatever you have equipped, and use it with a mouse click to swing. Very neat feature. I think a lot of future MMOs will probably go to a manual FPS combat system or third-person shooter combat system. It's a lot more exciting, a lot more engaging when you're trying to target and surround an enemy this way. So that's a really neat little feature that this game has, one of the little things that makes it different. Also, when it is dark, it is dark. And I mean dark. If there's another player off in the distance and he wants to sneak up on you, he can pretty easily because it is dark and it is hard to see at night. All the shadowing that lays over through the moonlight is very spectacular. They did a really fantastic job creating a mood, and that's a little thing I'd like to kind of get into as well. Is, you know, the game has a good dark atmosphere and it has a very primitive feel to it, and it does have a mood. It has a lot of shortcomings, and people can definitely complain for days, but it does have that as a feature and a benefit. So yeah, it's really impressive that it is a dark world when it's dark out, and when it's light out you can see very, very far. The view plane is fantastic. Aside from that, you know, it's basically a loot-all, see-all MMO. You kill a monster, you take everything it has, you wear it. In most cases, that's a really neat little thing. I think a lot of games you see someone wearing, you know, fantastic armor, and you kill them, and you expect a loot drop of some kind, and you get tattered cloth or half-digested cow meat. Whatever. It's kind of unfortunate. In this game, you kill it, you wear what it was wearing for the most part. Now, you won't necessarily get every single drop item off of the mob, but you will get a majority of the drop items. I've started myself a newbie orc here. And just wanted to show you one of the little combat scenarios here in the Goblin Villages, which is what I'm approaching here. This is a swampy area. This is the Orc Lands. It's good to remember that Orcs is best. And if you roll Orc, you never reroll. So, much like if you roll Troll, you never. There's a bunch of gobos here wearing pumpkin heads. I guess the developers forgot to remove the Halloween festivities, but nonetheless, they are a bit creepy looking, charging me here. I'm going to show you some combat. Mostly, you can see the game. Got all 3 of them down there. I'm kind of at half health. So, when the monsters die, you know, you can loot their corpses. And this is what I was discussing. This is one of the neat features. You can actually pull a lot of items off of a critter. And you have to drag and drop. Again, this is not a game review. I try and stay away from doing that. Everybody has opinions, unless it's a request. So, just going over some little things that are really different. The combat is, again, a lot more engaging than most MMOs. You know, you have to actively block like you would in Oblivion. Here I'm not holding a shield, so I'm just blocking with my arm. this guy's got a bow, so he's going to try and shoot me. Wait for you to draw your run. So once you kill him, it makes a little sound, and once again you can sheath your weapon and loot the corpse here and see what you get. In this case, I got some bread and a bunch of arrows. And I wanted to go over the arrows with you really quick and show you that. Double click to equip this stuff, or you can drag it and drop it in. We got some cloth arm guards here we're going to put on. So again, another little thing like I'd mentioned would be the atmosphere, obviously. Fantastic skyline, beautiful stars. I mean, it really makes for a really good immersion factor. It's funny, this game is mostly a PvP game, but there's a lot of elements in here from, you know, a typical RPG player that you would notice would beg for more out of the game than just combat. I think a lot of people don't really realize the developers have not finished this game into their full realization yet, because obviously they have a lot intended for it, and it's not quite made there. Another little thing I'd like to go over is everything in this game is harvestable. You can take a look at this tree up here. It says logging tree spawn. This little menu right here, it's telling you that you can actually harvest this tree. So you can take out an axe and start chopping away at this tree. Very neat little thing, because everything in the world that you see that way is harvestable. Every rock, every tree, pretty much every shrub you can go up to and mine, which is really nice. It makes for quick collections and crafting. Another little thing I'd go over would be the crafting system in this game. You can pretty much get started at level 1 if you want to. There's no levels in this game per se, so skill level 1, you would start off and maybe build your own armor to get going, or some arrows, or a couple melee weapons. Just go out and harvest them and get right at it. Much like Oblivion, single-player game in a lot of ways, you know, you aim to shoot as we've gone over already. Here's your bow action. You can arc it to hit the right range, and you see a tracer there. Again, pretty neat. You know, sound effects are okay. Everything seems to work in that regard. A nice thing is that this game does not have a level-based system. It's more of a sandbox-style MMO. I wouldn't say it has all the elements of a traditional sandbox. There's a lot missing, but it does give you that option to kind of start off however you want. You know, you kill a monster, you pick up a bow, you become an archer if that's what you decide. You can also choose magic and level up the skills of magic, you know, 1 through 100. And that goes for everything, for your vigor, for your strength attributes, you know, any sort of melee actions through great swords or double-handed axes or single-handed axes. All that stuff is raisable per use, much like the old days of SWG and all of the typical single-player RPGs like Oblivion, Morrowind maybe. So that is another little thing I'd like to point out, is that you can actually level things based on what you repetitively use, which is great. You don't have to level 1 to 50 or 60 or whatever the hell the level cap is of the current game. Another little thing I'd point out would be the fact that they offer free expansions. Now, as I said, the game is kind of a controversial thing because it's not quite complete. Obviously, it's a lot of open space here with not a lot going on. But they do offer their expansions for free, which is a nice feature. And they continually build on it every 6 months. It seems like they pop out some sort of expansion that's delayed by 4 weeks or a month or 2, and then it finally gets implemented. Lighting effects are very nice, and again, really the darkness you can see here it's a really neat feature. Another very cool little thing that separates this game is it is uninstanced, so you can kind of see this is the map for Agon, which is a absolutely massive zone. Now I'm going to try and zoom in and show you this here and center this, but I am this little tiny, ridiculously small speck of a man right here, speck of an orc. and the world is just dumbfounding in size and detail. You know, each zone has, you've got frost up here, you've got jungle climates down here, you've got desert and volcanic areas. Agon is a very large world. There's dungeons, there's things, there's player housing, guilds that construct you know, themselves from predetermined areas straight up out of the ground. You can get different tier guilds, halls, and buildings set up. So there are territories. It's kind of political, which is a nice other little thing. It's definitely a path that not many people have taken. And the map is seamless, and without any mountain you can't climb. I mean, you can go up to the very top of any of these mountains and view down, which is a nice other little thing. There are also boats, which is another thing I'd like to mention. That separates this from a traditional AAA MMO. You can craft your own boats, rafts, and so on. It takes quite a bit of resources, but it can be done, and you can launch them and go out into the ocean and all these little waterways and ducts and streams, and you can ride around and check it out. Very nice little thing there. Obviously, it adds to immersion and makes for a very interesting exploration route. I've been to a lot of these little chain islands. I was a beta tester for this game, and I played this game when it released personally, and I only explored a tiny portion of it because it's so damned big. I mean, it takes hours and hours to get from one end of Agon to the other. So, you know, that would be, in my opinion, a feature and a benefit, and definitely a little thing. Another little thing is the art style. Love it. Think it's great. The moons are massive when they come out. There's multiple moons. The clouds look pretty good. For a small developer team, they really nailed it. It's got great music and a great atmosphere overall. Those are just some little things I'd like to go over with Darkfall, and feel free to check it out if you want to. It does have a free trial. And thanks again for watching. See you next time on another Little Things video.